Yay!
And we're live! Hello, everybody. This is Matt. I
This
am
is
the naughty
Ian.
boy from Tasmania. And
I'm
I
Ian.
am with the mega geek, Ian David Diaz, who's got his mouth full
Exactly.
because it's lunchtime in the UK. Big news in the UK lately,
Yeah.
especially with Will. Is it Will? No, it's the other one. Harry.
Harry.
Harry
Harry.
on South Park. Have you seen that? That's shocking.
No, I hear it's funny though. It's funny.
I don't know, like, I don't know why, but they've got the designs for Harry and Meghan. They look like they're Canadian because they've got the you know how they have those weird designs for the Canadians. They have
Yeah.
the flip top heads,
But they
but
did they not used to live in Canada before they went to
did
LA?
they?
I think they
Did
used to
they?
live in Canada. Yeah. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they gave him a bit of a Elmer Fudd wang, you know. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the Royals or
Harry.
whatever they are. We're here to talk about Picard. And
Picard.
okay, so what's your history with Picard? You saw the first season, didn't you?
So I saw the first season and hated it with the passion of 10 volcanoes. And I just refused to watch the second one. You know what? When people talk about it, they either one or two things, right? They either a fan, right, that basically refuse to give up on it, and they stick with it even though they're looking at trash. And then there's the diehard fans that don't care. They just want Star Trek back. And then there are people that make money out of reviewing bad stuff, which is majority of people on YouTube, I guess, that make money out of it. And none of them are bad at all. Everybody has their boxes in life, and that's what they've chosen. And so I never watched the second one because I'm just a fan, basically. And I'm not a crazy fan either. I'm a fan of pop culture in general. So I don't queue up around the corners to get signatures. I don't dress up like my favorite, I don't do any of that stuff.
I
But
know,
I will. I am a fan, though. Yeah.
Cringe when I see people dressed up as friggin' bloody. I saw a girl dressed as Captain Scarlet once.
Was it a good costume? I love Captain Scarlet's costume.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, it actually was. I actually tried to chat her up, but it didn't quite work. But anyway, she was probably too young for
Spectrum
me.
was green.
As most of them.
It wasn't green, it was red.
But SIG. But yeah, no, I've sort of got a love-hate relationship with Picard because I was really looking forward to the actual series because I was expecting something about a man and his dog. So, remember number one, the dog that he forgot about and hasn't been seen since?
I put something on Twitter saying Picard, it has the same rubbish in it. The best thing about it was the music. And that's just my general review on it. But I can tell you why I don't like it, for those out there who wants to know, which is probably nobody. Nobody cares. The reason why I didn't like it was because every scene with every male character in it was soft. Okay.
Yep.
So let me explain what I mean. Right. So if you watch Next Generation or even the 60s Star Trek or even the movies, the real Star Trek, it was, again, I would say this, it's a boy's own thing. Captain Kirk, Jean-Luc Picard, even though Jean-Luc Picard isn't a fisty fighter, but he's a brainy guy, he's very intelligent, and he's very commanding. I remember loads of episodes where he told off Will Riker, really strong, whatever. Anyway, so bearing that in mind, it being true Star Trek and it being on the true timeline of Star Trek, obviously this one isn't. Okay, bearing that in mind, the first scene that pissed me off was the scene where, and you must remember this, Matt, because you only watched it recently, right?
I've only just watched it like an hour ago.
Okay. A lot of people don't see this, but unfortunately, because of all this woke stuff, it's actually shown me what woke stuff is, and deeper as well. So you remember that scene where is it Irish woman? Irish feckin'. Who's she again? I can't remember who says feck.
Oh, you mean the Romulan?
Yeah. What's her name? I can't remember.
I don't remember her name either, but
Anyway,
is she his fucking wife? Did he
I
get
don't
married
know.
or
I don't
something?
know. I don't care, right? But let me explain that scene, right? So he's sitting on his chair with a
Yeah,
roaring fire between them, and they've got
yeah,
the picture of Star Trek Galaxy class thing on, the paint that he wants to sell, whatever. They're
yeah.
sitting there, and he's saying that he got a distress signal from Beverly, right?
Mm,
And he's talking about it, and she says things like, "Well, you got to go out there and save her, you know, that's who you are, that's who we are, blah blah blah." And I thought to myself, hold on, right? She shouldn't be saying that crap. It should be him saying that.
him.
Him being strong, saying, I have to do this.
Yeah,
I have to go out there. I have to save Beverly because that's what I have to do. This is who I am. Instead, it was her
yeah.
saying
She should
it.
be holding him back, saying, you're getting
Well,
too
no,
old for this, and
I mean, a lot of people would say that's sexist, but no, but that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is that he should be in the original series. Picard was in control, or as much as he can, of his own destiny, of his own steps, of his own movements. In this,
yeah.
it looks like he was like, "Oh, what do I do? What do I do?" And he needed a woman to tell him what to do. That was the first bit that really peed me off. I was like, why isn't he strong? And I understand he's old, but I tell you one thing, I know loads of old people that will just slap you. You know what I mean? And they're in
Yeah,
their 80s, you know?
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, he's in his 80s.
exactly. So that peed me off as well. That really
Mm.
did peed me off. I was like, this, and it's so subtle as well. If you blink, you miss it. If you don't look very carefully,
No,
you
I
miss
never. But I mean, I got to say, I enjoyed the episode. However,
it. It was all right.
however, it's missing a lot. I can see why all these YouTubers and that are enjoying it. That
How can I?
they've seen friggin' 6 episodes of the damn stuff all in
Yeah.
one. We've got to watch it week by week. So I'll actually make my decision after I've seen all these episodes that they reckon is just so fantastic and everything. But I just don't know.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah. What do you think about the there's going to be spoilers in this review, so
Spoilers.
yeah. So what do you think about what do you think about the Doctor's son?
That's Picard's son, isn't it?
Is it? Because he's got an
Think
English
so.
accent, but I don't think when you're born you have an English accent.
No, you don't. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know you don't.
I think it's
Some
his.
people do.
I think
think
it's
you
his.
do.
I think it's his son. I think it's going to be like a Wrath of Khan, where Kirk discovers that he has a son. That's what I think. I don't know.
I
think
thought
it's,
it might have been a clone of him, like
that
someone
was
from Nemesis,
yeah,
you know.
Nemesis.
But I thought maybe she would have found out that he had another clone or something, you know.
No, I just and so look, I did enjoy it, right? But the thing is, though, it's like eating a really nice chicken and suddenly you bite into a bone and it cuts your tongue. That's how I felt. It's like, this is a nice chicken, but there are certain things in this chicken that I have to get rid of. You know, oh, there's a bone there. I want a boneless chicken, but I didn't. I got a chicken with bones. So it's kind of like that, really. Another thing that peed me off as well is the disrespect that Nine showed to Picard, and Picard was very soft. He's like, oh, let us speak. Let us speak.
Didn't they just travel back in time? Didn't they just travel back in time together? You know, that's what I was like going, why is she treating him so distantly? Weren't they all one big happy team?
Don't care. Never
I did like the Janeway reference though, when she said about Janeway, and I was like, that's the first time she mentioned it, but there is some canon. Just to let you know, there is some canonicity towards Picard connecting with the Voyager team through there was a video game called Elite Force, and in the sequel Elite Force, because they ended up going back home because they were originally on the Voyager. When they got back, Picard took on this team of elite, an elite force. That's why it was called Elite Force. So they were like a security officers type thing, and so he ended up taking them over. So there is that there's a bit of connection with that, but I don't know. I kind of liked it, and but one thing I didn't fucking like was Raffi. I can't stand that woman. I don't care.
So that's another
Yeah,
thing,
go
right,
for it.
Matt? There's
Yeah.
another thing that I didn't like, right? And because of all this woke stuff, I knew what was going to happen. So Raffi turns up, right, looking like hell. She's on drugs. She's like, oh, I've got to get my drugs, whatever. And a guy grabs her hand, and it's like, oh. And I was thinking to myself, there's no way this woman's going to be shown up by this man. This is not the woke stuff. Then afterwards, she's Captain blah blah blah, whatever. You know, she was totally in control anyway. So there's still that rule where you're not allowed to show women being dominated by a man or being told off by a man or being upped by a man. It's another thing that peed me off as well. I was thinking, okay, whatever. And that was very subtle as well.
I just miss the whole point of Next Generation was it was something to look forward to in the future.
This isn't the Next Generation, though.
And it's obviously not, because it's I still hate the swearing in it.
Yes,
even though I swear like a sailor, I don't feel it belongs in Star Trek. I think we're beyond that, and it was so beautiful and nice and shiny and everything, and now everything's just dark and awful, and they've kept that aesthetic. And I was really hoping that they'd put the bloody lights on for once.
Yeah. And also, another thing, right? It's just like I saw the Enterprise in a glass, in a beer glass or something like that, and
because they couldn't sell the fat Enterprises.
But that's what I'm saying. Is that being disrespectful to the Next Generation?
I feel that was disrespectful when they mentioned about no one likes the fat Enterprises. I was like, yes, we do.
I also I was watching.
It's like saying we don't like Orko out of Master of the Universe.
Yeah. So I was watching Gary, and Gary was saying how much he liked it, and then he said,
"Yeah, what's this going on?" So, has he? Neurotic.
No. So he's saying how much he liked it. He said it wasn't perfect, whatever. And then he said, "Oh, that what's the ship called again? What they got on the ship? It's not
which one? Oh, the Titan.
The Titan." He said, "Oh, the Titan's so gorgeous. It's a great ship. It is a great ship, but you look at that, which is complete CGI. Then you watch Star Trek 3." And see that model come out of that thing. That there is something about a model that trumps CGI any day. CGI for some reason, and subconsciously that it's not real because it's too perfect. When you watch Star Trek 3, when they steal the Enterprise, you literally, maybe it's just me, I literally feel that whole scene is so beautiful, especially if you watch it on Blu-ray. That ship is freaking awesome. I'm sorry, I couldn't connect with that ship. It just looks so unreal. I was
like, why are you using?
Real, but I just can't connect with it.
They used the Enterprise theme.
Yeah, I know.
For that ship, and I was like, so is it the Enterprise? And then I'm like, no, it's not. And I'm like, well, why are you using that? Because that to me is the Enterprise theme. It's not any other. There should be a different theme for every ship, I think.
I mean, I'm just nitpicking. I mean, I did enjoy what I saw, but there were certain
but it was too. It was just one. It was just the first episode, and the thing is, though, I want to see the rest of them. I suppose it's done its job. Where I want to watch the next episode. Whereas I remember the first episode of Picard season 1. And when it ended with the friggin' bloody Borg ship,
you wanted to stop there,
and I was like, I was like, what the fuck? They're in a Borg ship, and I was like, that makes no sense whatsoever. And I literally was doing this at the end of it. I was like, what?
But it also, as I said, I did enjoy it to a certain degree, but I really hate the way they portray John Luke. John Luke is a powerful, strong guy, and he's not portrayed that way anymore. And same thing with Riker. Riker's fine. He's still Riker, but then when he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "I can take some time off because I think Deanna Troy and my daughter will appreciate me taking time off." I'm like, "What
Yeah.
again? Han Solo
Yeah.
lost Princess Leia. Now you're going to lose Deanna Troy. What again?"
Oh,
Do
she's
you know what I
coming
mean?
back in it though.
I was like, "What?" You know, it's
But
just like,
I think these first 6 episodes, it's gonna take that time to get the whole crew back together. They're not gonna get
but
them all back together by next episode.
also, I'd just like to point out a moral issue with this. Okay,
Mm.
so
Mm.
Klutzman has literally destroyed Star Trek, literally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he knows he's destroyed Star Trek. He knows Star Trek, the Star Trek he created, whether it's diversity, no, the Discovery, or
Mm.
any Star Trek he's created. He knows. He knows that people don't like it, right? So what does he do? He gets someone, or the person that he knew that's quite talented, that can write Star Trek properly. So this guy wrote Star Trek kind of properly. Still got the stuff in there, as I pointed out.
Yes.
And then, right, they're gonna go to influencing people on YouTube, because YouTube is the biggest platform in the world when it comes to screening stuff. They go to Cullen, they go to Robert Barnett, they go to Drinker, they go to these influencers that have millions watching them. They get them to watch it, and because the show's okay, they say it's okay, and then it gets people like me and you to watch it. But there's a moral thing we have to think about here, right? If this is success, we are literally saving Kurtzman's ass, right? And I don't want to do that. And you know what? I'd probably watch the next episode and then leave it for a year and then watch the rest, because I do not want to help Kurtzman get another job, because he can. If this is a huge success, he's going to go to the bosses. Yeah, see, it's a huge success. I'm the exec producer. I made it happen. Blah blah blah. And then he's going to be employed again. So I don't want to be part of that.
I've got a new idea. Star Trek Raffi.
I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be responsible for him to get in a job. It's a good plan, though. You got to admit, if Klutzman thought of this, it's a good plan. And unfortunately, Gary and Drinker and the rest of them, they're falling for it. They're falling for it. Sorry, Gary. Sorry, Drinker. Sorry, Burnett.
I know he follows me. I think he still subscribes to me. I think Gary still subscribes to me. But yeah, no, I just I thought it was funny that they gave it out to the influencers.
That's what I'm thinking as well. And it was all headed by Burnett as well. I love Burnett. I love Gary, and I love the Drinker, and I love them all. Cullen, I think, is amazing. But I'm sorry, guys, you're being used. You're being used by Klutzman to save his ass.
Do you think? So, do you think they're shills?
No, I don't think they're shills. I love those guys; they're great. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's occurred to them this is what's happening. But anyway,
every single one that you mentioned, I do enjoy. I think that there's a little bit the ones that aren't liking the show or haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
And they're probably a little bit pissed off because they weren't given access to it as well early. I think that there's some of that. There's a bit of jealousy as well involved in that.
I've got to admit, right? I watched it because I watched it because Dave Cullen. I saw Dave Cullen's thing, and I was like, "Oh my god, if Dave Cullen likes it, it's got to be spectacular, isn't it?"
Yeah, but he's seen the 6 episodes though. That's what my argument is. My argument is he's seen an arc. He's seen the first, over the first half of the season. Is it 10 episodes? It's 10 episodes, isn't it?
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know.
I think it's like 10 episodes because they've all seemed to be 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But that first season of Picard was so awfully written as far as bits and pieces were missing from it. Yeah. They had characters disappear straight in halfway through the friggin' bloody show.
No, but they turned Picard into a robot. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I know. Yes, I know. It was a shit show.
Complete rubbish.
That's the reason why I didn't watch season 2. But I was like, I thought they had a great opportunity with season 2 in that they had Q. So Q can turn robots into humans. So why not just go, you know what? You should turn, because he did. You remember when he went and said to Data, "I can turn you into a real boy."
Yeah.
And he could have done that for Picard to say, "This is my last gift to you. There you are. That's you as a human being."
But also, right, you remember is it Nemesis, right?
Yeah.
So it was obvious what they were doing.
Unfortunately.
It's obvious what they're doing in Nemesis. Okay, so when Data sacrificed himself for Picard and
Yeah, that was a
died,
bit weird.
they had the little chip, right, of Data, which was I think it was Law's chip, wasn't it? At the ending.
Yep.
Right. I know what I suspect what they were going to do was they found out that that wasn't Law's chip, that was Data's chip. So if they put Data's chip into Law's body, Data would be back. I think that's what they were aiming at. They could have easily done it with this now. They could bring Data back by doing that. But because everything's so screwed and this is not that timeline.
That was the same. Well, that was
a fat Data. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was Generations where they got that, because they had that thing in Generations where he had the emotional chip. Law's emotional chip. And I actually thought if they put that in his head, it may actually have Law inside it. Like Law may have, upload himself into him.
They could have done anything.
And I mean, they still look. No spoilers here, but he's in it. Law's in it, isn't he? He shows up in it.
Yes,
and I'm thinking he may be in that B2 or B4 body, possibly.
But it doesn't need to be Law. It could be Data. They could bring Data back, and they've got deep fake now. They could bring back. They can have both. They can have
but they didn't do it very well the first time around.
No. They didn't do it at all in the. What they should do is
they did.
No, they didn't. They just made his face look a bit thingy. That's not.
Did they use sticky tape?
Okay, no, they put. No, listen.
They did a Jane Seymour on him.
Okay, so what they should have done, right, is so to do deep fake, what you have to do is you have to, if the actor that they're doing deep fake on is grossly his size has changed, say. For instance, you can't do deep fake on Colin Baker as the Doctor because he's literally ballooned out, right? So if you were going to do Colin Baker, what you need to do is get an actor that was the same height and the same size as him when he was in his prime. Then scan Colin Baker's face throughout multiple pictures of they got, and then put that face and then get Colin Baker to do the voice, right?
No. Have you seen the latest video from Rabbi? Our friend the Rabbi?
Why is he has fake?
He actually created an AI voice of Colin Baker to read all his books.
Yes, you can do that now. Yes,
that's crazy.
What I'm saying is, right, is that you have to get permission off the person that you're deep faking, right? And you have to pay them as well. So why not? If say for instance we take the example of Colin Baker, why not just pay Colin Baker to do the voice? Because then he'd be happy, whatever. Yeah. And it's the same thing with the guy who plays Data.
There's a thing with easily done that. Your voice ages as well, Ian. I don't know if you know this,
but you can. There are certain things you can do to mixing wise.
No,
to make
because
there is.
They never ever convinced me with Luke Skywalker. When they did that, well, there you go. See, when Luke Skywalker talked, they fixed his pitch up, and it didn't. It just didn't work.
Well,
so
it's better than not fixing the pitch, isn't it? It's better than not doing it at all.
Well, it was really weird, actually. I like the fact that they had the little Easter egg at the beginning with, like, you could hear Picard's captain's logs, and it was from the actual show, and you could tell the difference between the voices. Yeah. His younger voice to his older voice. The
bit in the beginning where Picard's on the bridge and it goes and he meets Geordie's daughter. Is it Geordie's daughter?
Yeah, she's at the helm. I thought you might have a go at that one.
No, that was fine. I was hoping that they didn't say she was gay, and they didn't, so that's good. Because that's usually what happens in these shows, right? Usually what happens.
Yeah. So, I get what
they didn't do that. I was like, great. They didn't do that then. At least that's 1 point for them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're Geordie LaForge's daughter, and I'm gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the conversation worth having.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What did you think
It's
of that captain that was an asshole
he's all right.
of the
He
Titan?
was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun. I thought he was quite good actually. you know, uh,
He's one to love to hate.
but listen, right, and also that scene doesn't make any sense either, does it? I mean, what kind of writing is this? So the guy sits there and he goes, and he slags them off, right?
Yeah,
He slags them. So Picard saved the universe. He saved the Earth
yeah,
from the
a
Borg.
few times. Yeah,
Why is he slagging them off?
yeah, and then there seems
That
to
doesn't
be
make any
that
sense to
bias
me.
about them being Borg, and even with her, you can tell he doesn't even
But
want her on board.
okay,
7 of
but
9.
that's not the point. The point is, you have uh, Jonathan Frakes there. You have his character, and you have Patrick Picard's character there. Whatever. The Federation should be grateful, just like they were grateful to Kirk for saving the universe and the Earth time and time again.
Mm,
You wouldn't, if I was writing that, I wouldn't. I would make him an arsehole, but I wouldn't play it that way because logically, within the structure of Star Trek, it makes no sense to bombast, to basically insult these people who the Earth
yeah.
should be grateful for, to Federation should be grateful for.
Well,
You know what I mean? It makes no sense. It's just
I don't know why it really irritated me that the actual design of the ship as well, of the Titan. I was like,
I thought it was all right. I like the design.
no, no,
You
it
didn't like
just
the design?
doesn't seem to have any maneuverability. I mean, you can go overboard with the sleekness, which was, I think it's the latest one, the Enterprise J or whatever it is.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you've ever seen that, it's really, really thin,
Mhm.
and you can go overboard because it looks stupid. But this one just looks bulky, and it just didn't. To me, it doesn't look like it could actually be good in a fight. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, as I said, right, it looks good, but the thing is, I think it would look much better if we were looking at a model, like a X scale model. It would look so much better because, as I said, everything about those shots, even though it looked really fantastic, just made me think it's CGI.
Mm.
It took me out of those shots. But then I'm just talking about
What?
myself. I'm sure a lot
What?
of people loved it, but for me, I'm
What?
like, oh, you know what
What
I
was
mean?
the reference with Deep Space 4?
Oh, Deep Space Nine got blown up or something like that. You were
No,
saying,
Deep
me?
Space not no, it was Deep Space 4. He said we're
Mm.
going to go to Deep Space 4, and then he said, "Oh well, Deep Space 4 doesn't exist
I
anymore.
don't know.
It's
I thought
been
you said Deep Space
shut down."
Nine.
And then they said, "You mean Deep Space 11?"
I don't know. Did he not say nine? Did he not
No,
say
no,
nine?
no. They said 4. No,
Oh,
he
I
said
don't know.
4.
I don't know.
No, Picard said, "I want to go to Deep Space 4," and then just like, well, Deep Space 4 doesn't exist anymore. So,
I
but
don't
I was
know.
like, yeah, I don't know. There was that weird reference about the Red Lady too. Apparently, she was a captain of the Enterprise. She was the third captain, I
That's not.
believe.
So that's another thing that peed me off, right? So it took women. So if you look at the women in that episode carefully, they achieved their ends. Raffi was looking for the red lady and found her, or found the connection.
Yeah, because she's a smartass.
Right. 7 and 9 helped. Hiya, Brian. 7 and 9 helped Picard and Riker achieve their goal.
Mm.
And what did Riker and Picard achieve?
Nothing.
So
They said, "Oh, well, I really like that 7 of 9."
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. So that's another thing that peed me off as well, is that all even though they're the stars,
mm,
they couldn't do anything for themselves. Unlike the original Star Trek, where they did do stuff for themselves because it was a boy, because it's a boy's own thing. Now they've turned it into a woman's own thing,
yeah,
and it's so evident to me what's going on. But a lot of people, it goes way over their head, and that's all
yeah,
right if
but
they enjoy it. That's fine with me.
that's
But
it.
for
That's it.
me,
It exists, Ian, and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean,
I don't care.
you,
I really don't care. Not
no, but
anymore.
you've got to realize, though, this is the future of entertainment. There's going to be more of this. It's not going to be never ending. They're never ever going to be not condescending.
It's not that they're condescending. It's in the writing, right? It's obvious that I don't know whether they deliberately did this. Again, right, as I said, they're going for our heroes, male heroes, and they're deconstructing them and they're making them softer. And I don't like that. The last Batman film was there was a huge crime against Batman in that film.
I never watched it. I think it's the same thing with Joker, to be honest.
And the same thing with James Bond. And I don't even know what this next James Bond's going to be like. So I just don't like. I want to see male heroes be male heroes, you know, like in real life, you know. But they're not giving us that.
No, and not if they're white as well. If they're white male, they're not going to be. And I mean, you look at someone like, you know, I haven't seen it yet, but Worf, you know, when he comes down the tracks, and then they're saying that Geordie LaForge is in charge of the museum now. What the hell? I thought he was a time. I thought he was in the time. He was a time. Not a traveler, but one of them, like, you know, like a time police sort of thing.
He's an engineer, though, isn't he?
No, he ended up being in Voyager. He was he stopped.
No, that wasn't LaForge. That was
yes, it was
the Irish guy. He ended up being in Deep Space Nine.
No, it was LaForge.
In what? In what show?
In Voyager.
Oh, in Voyager. I thought you were talking about Deep Space Nine.
I think it was the final. No. Well, maybe it was.
Oh, it can't be Voyager because they were off.
It was the one with the old when the old Janeway went back to change the past, and LaForge was a time policeman. And I pulled my thing out, but he actually
I can't remember.
Had to go back and try and stop him, and he said that you've you know, temporal police or something they were.
And now he's a creator.
Oh, he was a director. He was directing that episode too, by the way. Well, he directed that episode. That's the reason why he was in it.
But I mean, also, if you're going to bring the next generation cast back, bring them back properly. Bring back Data.
Oh, you know what? I thought it was so good that they're all still alive. No, I did. I thought it's so good that they're all still alive. I mean, Gates McFadden, I'm worried about.
She looks a bit different. She looks very different, doesn't she?
No, that's what I said. She looks like a gelfling out of the Dark Crystal, and I don't mean that as a horrible thing, but she does look different. You're right, but seeing her in HD as well, you can see the wrinkles. So obviously, you know, there's been some
old,
work.
You know, they're all old. But what I'm saying is that you know, a lot of everyone's saying it's a good show, and it isn't too bad actually. Tell you the truth.
No, it's better than what we've had in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, I was all open for Discovery. I was completely open for Discovery, and I thought, okay, yeah, all right. So she's going to be shoehorned in as Spock's stepsister and stuff like that, and it didn't bother me. She was black or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But then when it became about her, just the whole freaking show was about her, and I'm like, but to me, Star Trek has always been an ensemble.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And this is why this show works better than Picard has done in the past. It's because we can see what's come before, you know. But what they've been trying to do is trying to focus on one person, and it's never ever worked. Because you remember, Patrick Stewart turned around and said that there's going to be no Star Trek Next Generation cast in any of this. This is not Next Generation.
It goes to how wrong they are, because they were panicking. No, that's why they
how
got
much failure.
Yeah,
they did.
They got fights in it towards the ending, and that wasn't scheduled, so they just dumped it in because they knew people weren't watching. But that's what I'm saying. I'm a bit hesitant to help Klutzman in his career.
You keep saying Klutzman.
Oh, isn't that his name?
Did you watch Lost?
No, I watched the first season. That was enough for me. I thought it didn't have any answers. It just kept rolling and rolling. I was like, ugh.
But
I love Fringe. Thought Fringe was
I've grown up.
fantastic.
I love Fringe. Fringe, but I binge watched Lost because I thought we've
What a
had so
crap
many
ending.
shows. Every shows that we've had up until that point had answers.
Yeah.
Even the freaking X-Files.
Well, they tried to give us answers in the X-Files.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But even then,
Yeah.
they were answers. You know.
Yeah.
But this one, they just like everybody was like, "Oh, can't wait to
I
find
saw-
out what the whole
I saw
polar
the
bear
last
thing's for."
episode. I saw the last episode, and they were all dead. So there you go.
Yeah, no, they were in a limbo.
Yeah, so they were all dead.
But they weren't dead on the island. Everybody all thought that they were dead on the island, and they weren't.
Yeah, but they're dead.
But then
they
you
were
can't
in limbo,
explain
they were dead. They were dead.
Yeah, but
They're all dead.
they were moments in time. That was. They were all moments in time, and they all met up in this one limbo because they were all joined together in harmony. And
absolutely ridiculous. Total nonsense. Absolutely.
You're right. You are 100% right. It was a terrible show.
It was a terrible show.
In the end, it was.
Yeah, it's really funny how shows that hardly have any money is the shows that have really good scripts because they have to because they don't have any money. I mean, even though I thought it was a crime that Blake Seven ended the way it did, it was still, beyond the bad special effects, it was still a really interesting show about interesting
characters. And it had
characters,
an ending. It was just like, but it was a bleak ending.
Very
bleak. It had an ending. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was very bleak. And that was the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It as a line right there. It's done. It's finished. They're all dead. Bye bye. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there's no winning this one.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's the thing. Sometimes you just don't win, Ian. And everybody, you got these people wanting to, fight the good fight, and try and save their beloved franchises and that. And you have people that are in charge of these franchises that don't give a shit about them.
Mm.
And
but I honestly think, right, that you can be too much of a fan and it makes you a bit blind to what's going on. That's what I think when it comes to fandom. And I've got to admit, I'm not one of those fans. Even though it says Mega Geek at the bottom there. I am a geek, but I don't think I'm a mega geek. I don't know everything about Star Trek and I don't know everything about Doctor Who. But I'll tell you one thing.
I'm the same.
I will not give my favorite shows a pass if it's a bad script and badly performed and badly edited and just bad all round. I will call it out.
If I need to, like if I've got any questions about Next Generation, I just read my my entire encyclopedic.
Wow.
Yeah. This is every episode of Star Trek. Every single one, every season.
Could you imagine though working on something? How many years did that go for, Matt?
With images. 7.
Imagine working on a show like that.
Of Chief O'Brien. That was season 4. What was her name? I forgot her name.
The Chinese girl.
Not Yoko Ono.
No. She was really pretty, that girl.
I remember. Wasn't she in MASH? I think she was in MASH as well.
So gorgeous, that one. Really gorgeous.
Yeah. I didn't like how they ended their relationship. I think it was only a necessity because he was on Deep Space Nine. But
I think it's very insidious what they're doing with our pop culture and stuff like that. They're trying to destroy things like Happily Ever After now, destroying the what it is to be male.
A lot of behind the scenes stuff in this.
Yeah.
They're those weird alien guys with the veins all on them without the mask on.
I'm just saying,
the salamanders.
You can be too immersed into your favorite TV show and not see what's really going on.
I said it the other night on Type 40 that I really hate it when people say it's just a TV show.
Yeah, it's more than a TV show.
It's more than a TV show. Sometimes it's a lifeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
It keeps some people alive because they want to watch the next episode and they're like, my life is shit, but this takes me away from my life.
Yep.
And I want to, I want to see how the show ends.
Mm.
And when people destroy what's currently, on, like Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars, I said the other night to Dan, I said, I don't know if I'm going to watch The Mandalorian or not, because
probably not. I probably won't.
It's just the fact that it's not the whole Gina Carano thing that doesn't bother me, because she said some pretty fucking stupid stuff in the interim after she's been sacked. She has said some really fucking stupid stuff. I'm sorry, Gina Carano fans, but yeah, she has, especially about my country. And she has no fucking idea, because she lives in her own fucking planet, America, planet America. So, they don't know about the outside world, but they have their own ideas about it, So, but it's there's certain aspects of it that were creeping in before, like from not so much The Mandalorian season 1, but with season 2. Season 2 just started off with that whole, I can't stand that what's her name? Kate. She's the one out of Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yeah, Kate Sackhoff or whatever.
Sackhoff. I can't stand her.
Mm.
And yet, they've got her, they've shoehorned her into this series now. So, and it's just gone off into another direction.
There are certain things that are cool, right? In pop pop media, whatever. There are certain things that are cool, like this, for instance. The DeLorean's cool, right? It's cool. But can you honestly say that the TARDIS is cool? I don't know. Now I don't know. Now I used to think the TARDIS was really cool.
TARDIS is a niche.
I'm in two minds about it now because of what's happened to Doctor Who. Do you know what I mean?
And actually watching. Have you ever seen have you ever, because you live in the UK, so but possibly have you ever seen an original TARDIS, like a police box?
Yeah.
On the street.
No.
You have.
No, no, once. Yeah, once.
When they're made out of concrete, aren't they?
No. The bottom's made out of concrete. So what it's standing on is made out of concrete, right? It's wooden. So you know what it was there for, right? It was made in the 60s.
Mm.
So in the 60s, right, there was fog. Right, so there was a bit of fog, right?
Yeah, night. No, I believe you. Jack the Ripper and that.
Yeah, that was the 30s.
No, anyway, I know. I'm just being
in the 60s, right? We didn't have mobile phones, obviously, so they used to have police boxes everywhere. Oh, they got one in Glasgow. Okay, so if you were in trouble, you'd run there, go into the box. If somebody was chasing you, lock yourself in so you could be protected and you can phone the police.
Right.
And you used to have a little light at the top, or I think it had a light at the top, just in case there was fog or whatever. You know what I mean? So it was there to protect, but also it was there so you can contact the police.
Oh, okay.
Can't get them to come and get you or tell them what's going on, whatever. So I haven't seen one in London, but I saw one in Wales once. But there are a few around.
That's apparently why some people ran into the TARDIS back in the old days to hide.
Yes, right. Like in like in the movie when Bernard Cribbins goes in there because he obviously thought that it was and obviously it wasn't. It was the TARDIS. So yeah.
I watched a little news item that was done by the BBC in the mid '80s, and it was about one of the police, because the BBC were looking for a police box and they couldn't find them anywhere, and they actually found one. The BBC found one, and it was still in operation. And
really?
the policeman was actually using it as his office. So he had a little bar heater in there, and all his notes and everything. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I was like, but they were very small. Were they small? Because some of them looked different sizes.
Majority of them were the same size. They were, as far as I know, they were the size of the ones you see in Doctor Who. They were that size. So They were a little smaller because the Matt Smith one is a lot wider, but they were literally the size of the Hartnell one. That's
I
the
saw
size
one. I saw one picture with David Tennant, and it actually looked like it was double the size of a normal TARDIS.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And it was an original one, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. As I said, right. Picard was okay. It was enjoyable enough, but there are still things in there that shouldn't be in there. I just wish that we had Picard back, because we don't have Picard back. He's still a frail old
man is, isn't he?
And he's scared to talk back. And
they've mentioned that he's going to talk about being a robot.
Oh god!
Like there is going to be a passing discussion, but that was just the most stupidest idea they've ever had.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's like working in a bank, right? You screwing up and losing the bank millions, and then telling the customers to back you up. Go, and you tell the customers, look, just tell my manager that I'm a good salesman. Just tell my manager, and so all the customers are going to manager. He's really good. He's really good. He's really good. Oh, he did this thing for me. He did this thing for me. That's what Kurtzman's doing. He's getting the people that hate Trek to basically like Trek, so that he
isn't it funny?
Saved.
They're the ones that have loved the Orville.
Maybe he's under contract. Look, maybe I'm talking rubbish. He's probably under contract anyway, and they can't.
You didn't like season 3 of the Orville, did you?
I didn't see it. I didn't see season 3.
I had to study it for that bloody, because we were supposed to. Dan wanted me to do his do the Orville, because I think you did season 2, or no, you did season 1, but you were planning to do season 2 and 3.
Yeah,
and so I ended up having to watch it for homework. I mean, I loved it when I first, even from the first get-go, I started binging it, and I guess I was lucky in that regard that, I'd had all these years worth to watch,
I think it's what spoils TV shows now is that the distance between the first season and the second season is too great. That's why you lose interest in them. Like, I remember watching, there's a show called You on
oh yes.
I watched Netflix. The first season and I liked it. And then I think it was a year later, I watched the second season and it was okay. And then I think it was like 3 years later, the third season came out, and I lost interest. I'm like,
you got to remember the pandemic, Yeah,
I know that
killed it.
But there are other shows that take ages to come back, and it's like, well, am I interested in it anymore? No. So the momentum's gone.
No, I know, and I understand that, and it's the same with Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones was like, oh, we can't make it till next year, we'll have to put it on hold, so it's another 2-year wait or whatever. And a lot of people going, oh, and it was shit. It was awful. Well, we were like, oh, hopefully in that in between, he'll actually release his bloody other books.
Yeah, but he's got a built-in audience, isn't he?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones audience, because of the books and everything. So that was never going to fail at all. I was one of the very first people to see the very first episode. Me and Keith, because we got invited to the screening, and I remember the producer coming out saying there's something that this was a long time ago. Something's going to happen in this episode, and it might not get screened. And they were talking about when the guy pushes the little boy, the kid out of the thing, and now you look at him, it's like it's like nothing to worry about now, isn't it? But in those days, it was something to worry about, So yeah. So there you go.
Well, now you can tell from the difference between the first season to the last season, though.
Yeah.
The last season, there was less nudity. It became more female-based.
Oh, what a surprise. What a surprise.
Let's just put it that way, And, I mean, I'd avoided all those spoilers for that. Because, everybody was saying, oh, it's been leaked and everything, and luckily, I thought, no, I need to work it out for myself whether or not I like the final season or not.
I watched one season.
Hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Did you?
I watched it with my mum, and I would feel so sad that, she got to see it, and she turned to me at the end of it, and she said, well, that wasn't very good, was it? And it was like after nearly 10 years, and it's like, it's like, oh, yeah, no, I have to agree with you. That was awful. You know,
I only saw. I think saw season 1 and 2 of Game of
if
Thrones, and I got fed up with it. I was like, this is
if you're
just
going
ridiculous.
to release, if you're going to release
Mm.
6 episodes, 6 finished episodes to all the influencers and that,
This is what they did.
and I say influencers, you know, they obviously know their power.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact of the matter is that, you know, if they're going to release it, they need to release it to everybody
No,
all at
well,
once, because the influencers are saying this is a really good show. You know, you have to keep watching, but we've already seen it and it's fantastic. It's like, well,
that's what they're doing though, and they're winning as well because a lot of people are watching it because of what the influencers are saying.
Has it
You know,
done well? Has it?
well, I don't know, but I'm assuming I watched it because of Dave Cullen. I watched this episode because I was never going to watch it, and I heard Dave Cullen's thing. And I thought, okay, well maybe I'll give it a watch. And I think Ian wanted me to watch it, and Dan wanted me to watch it. So I was
because
I
I
was
skipped
swayed
season 2.
by
I thought
Cullen.
maybe it's not worth watching season 3 because I mean I've never ever skipped a season of a show.
I have. It's rubbish. If it's rubbish, I have. You know what?
No, but now? I've never skipped a season and then gone on to the next season, and then I'm like, what the hell's going on? It doesn't work the same way as a soap.
Well, you know,
it doesn't work the same way as a soap. TV shows just don't work and the problem that I have is, remember when there used to be a show, so like you had a bit of an arc, right?
Mm.
But like each episode was self-contained.
Yeah.
So people could actually watch it. And this is half the problem with streaming today, is the fact that, you know, people have to watch the next episode to get what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas the stories used to be self-contained in each episode. And then if they had an arc, then there was just that little bit of an Easter egg to, you know, to do with it, like X-Files.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could watch it, Monster of the Week. But there was this like underlying undertone type of thing that was happening. And I miss that. I really do. Even, you know, Star Trek Next Gen, they started doing that in the later series. Because if you remember, they had the, what were they? The, starts with M. The ones that were they were against the Cardassians.
Can't remember.
If anybody knows, let me know.
Do you know the final? Yeah.
That's Game of Thrones.
Yeah. You know, what is it gonna say? You know, do you remember that episode of Star Trek Next Generation where they were in a different timeline, and Guinan was trying to explain to Picard that there's something wrong, and she was saying, this is not a warship, this is a ship of peace. And they were fighting against the Klingons. Remember that? And then they had an Enterprise that was from the past. Do you remember that one? I can't remember what that was called. Yeah. In the on the bridge, it was dark, just like Klutzman episode. They changed the lighting, didn't they, on that?
Yeah, they turned
so maybe they're off in that timeline. I don't know.
They used to hide a lot in the dark.
I don't know.
I don't know how you could work in a ship without the lights on.
Well,
especially when you're in space. It's already dark.
It's a bit. The show that you know, it was, as I said, it was okay, but there were a lot of things that bothered me.
It must be terrible for directors. It must be terrible for directors to not be able to light your, you know.
No, that's not how it works, Matt.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of light on set, but in grading they dumb it down.
Okay.
Like, for instance, in Alien,
computers.
In Alien, right before the advent of computers, where they were actually shooting on film, they bombarded that set with quite a lot of light. So when it came to actually shooting the thing, they can put a stop down on the lens, so it looks a lot darker, but you still retain the detail. Do you know what I mean? They don't not light the set. If they don't light the set, then you can't see anything. Do you know what I mean? So they light it, and then they use the lens to put a stop down, so it looks a lot darker. That's what they do. So you know, obviously, with technology they've got today, they can do the same thing, but it's far more easier now if they want more latitude on the actual digital image itself, they can pull it out. Unlike film, where they have to get it right on set, they have to get it right. If you know what I mean. So,
Yeah, but
but yeah,
even when they brought back Star Trek, when it was the Abrams Star Trek, sorry,
yeah,
but even when they brought that back, it was lit.
Yeah, exactly. Loads of flares
So
and everything.
it
Yeah,
only seems to be when it was the TV show that they went
yeah.
back to being dark.
But that's probably Kurtzman's idea, or whoever came up with that idea is
I don't
stupid.
think did Kurtzman have anything to do with the Star Trek movies?
I have no.
I think
don't know.
that was all Abrams.
No, I don't know. I think he did. I think he did. I think he was exec producer, wasn't he? Yeah, he was exec producer.
Okay.
On JJ's version of Star Trek, he was. Yeah.
But what I can't understand is if they don't understand the quintessential reasons why Star Trek actually works.
Mm.
Because, I mean, they might as well have a USS diversity. You know what I mean?
Mm. Well, I don't believe this is real Star Trek anyway. I do like Frakes, and I do like Patrick,
I think he was. I think he was a lot better than what he was in the. He does a lot better when he's not being told what to do by Deanna Troy. You know,
you can tell they're still selling this woke rubbish, but this time round it's very, very subtle. You know,
no,
and
I agree with you. But you know what? I'd rather it be subtle than in your face and just.
I'd rather it be
take
not
you
there.
out of the. It's not going to happen though, Ian.
Well, hopefully it will.
No, it won't. You will never ever get it back to the way it was.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of filmmakers out there fighting against this now, and there are a lot of things that are happening now that are not.
The problem is, so you have like producers and all that listen to what the company wants.
Mm.
So you have the BBC putting in their 40 bob's worth, and I'll tell you something later. And they've got, you've got Paramount and that saying, we need more of this. But obviously, because of this, I haven't seen Strange New Worlds. Have you seen that?
Nope, not interested.
Not interested in it,
nope.
Even though you've heard that that's good as well.
It's Kurtzman. It's Kurtzman's track, and also guy. Yes, that guy looks nothing like Spock. He's not Spock.
Oh no,
that guy's not Captain Kirk. No. And the whole ship is dark.
No, he's not Captain Kirk. He's Pike.
No, the guy. They have Captain Kirk in it. Apparently.
Oh no, they don't.
So, I saw a picture of him, and he's not Captain Kirk. It looks nothing. It's just.
Right.
And they changed the whole aspect of Spock's lineage. His history and all that stuff, and it's just.
They did it with bloody Burnham, didn't they? As soon as they put, but that didn't bother me.
I don't care. It's not Star Trek. It's on a different timeline. It's not Star Trek. It's Kurtzman's Star Trek.
But did anyone ever go back to the other timeline?
They should.
But he won't. They won't.
I know they won't, but they should. They should. They should. They really should go back to the other timeline and and carry on from that point. I reckon Strange New Worlds was a vast improvement, but it still stinks of Klutzman.
You just won't say his name, will you?
But yeah, I did say a couple of times. But I mean, yeah. Look, I don't know Klutzman from, I don't know him. I don't know whether he's genuinely.
If he offered you a job, you'd take it up in a heartbeat.
I will take any job that pays me a crap load of money.
Working back in Hollywood. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. I just want to, if I bump into a Russell T and he offered me to direct a Doctor Who, I'd definitely direct it. I'm like, give me some money. I'll do it. I'll do it for you. That's another thing. That's another thing this week, isn't it? With his costume. His costume sucks, man.
Do you think actors should have any say in the production?
None whatsoever. I've met a lot of actors in my time, and majority of them have no clue about what things should look like or whether a script is good. They have no freaking clue. I tell you, I was directing on Thursday. I was directing a segment from Rebecca Gold. So I was talking to the makeup girl, and I had the girl playing Rebecca, and I said to her, because the first thing we shot, for me, her look wasn't right. So I said, look, I got a picture and I showed her. So just tie her hair at the back and let's have some strands that come down here. And I said, because that could be an iconic look for her. And she said, strands. And I said, yeah, do you remember what seen Superman? One of the most iconic things about Superman, apart from his costume, is his curl on his head.
Oh.
You know, it's the curl, you know?
And
so
they
when you see him
removed
flying around, they removed it, obviously, and it's iconic.
Mm.
And I said, so I want to try and create something like that with the girl. And she was like, Superman has got a curl? I was like, do you know what I mean? Actors, what was that? Makeup people, they don't watch TV. It's like, well, this is the business that you're in. And you don't watch TV. There you go. You don't watch TV. How am I else? How am I supposed to explain myself if you don't watch what you're supposed to be part of? Do you know what I mean? So, and a lot of actors are like that as well. I say to them, do you remember that scene in Sansa? Do it like that. And they're like, well, I haven't watched the film. And what about this film? I haven't watched that either. What about that one? I haven't watched that either. You feel like slapping them. It's like, this is the business you're in. You should be watching stuff. Another thing is when they don't read the script as well, that drives me nuts.
The actors.
Yeah.
See, I was watching
nuance. Sorry.
I was watching a thing the other night about, because I watched Doctor Who, the Aztecs, the other night because Simon was telling me to. I didn't mind it. I thought it was all right.
There's only so much Doctor Who I can take.
But it was. It was better than what we've gotten.
Well, anything's better than what we've got now.
What I expected, But when I was watching it, they said that William Hartnell would learn his lines on a Sunday, and then that was it. So you can remember, you can think the reason why he kept on fluffing his lines.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard in those days. It was hard because it was all done in the studio, and they had like a 3-camera setup, so that's
they never changed the script, did they? They never changed the script.
Yeah, so
maybe that's the reason why they don't bother reading, is because they're expecting a change in script.
England,
you deviate when you're filming Rebecca Gold? Do you deviate on the day? Do you go?
If an actor comes up with something that's quite funny, yes, we'll keep it in. But more or less, it needs to stick with with what's been said, what's been written on the script. If they deviate a bit, and it means the same thing, I can live with it. But if they deviate a lot, then I have to tell them to do it again. So
I think a lot of these elderly actors, they have no idea. It's like, look at Picard, look at Patrick Stewart with Picard. He had full creative control because he was.
He shouldn't have got
star.
that.
No, well, I know. But then I see things as well where, you have you remember a show called Touch of Frost?
Yeah. David Jason.
David Jason. And if you watch the first few seasons of that, it's a good detective show. And then when it gets on further down the line, he has more creative control.
Yeah.
And it goes downhill very, very fast. And you can see where his involvement is. No, but I'm talking about in the later seasons, the real late seasons, where he did one special, Yeah, but
he was getting on a bit.
I don't think he was always old anyway.
Well, he was, but
he was still doing Only Fools and Horses when he was doing Touch of Frost.
Yeah, he's a good actor though. I do rate him. I think he's
Danger Mouse. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. can't diss Danger Mouse. I think he's a really good actor. I'd love to work with him, but I think he's well past.
Did you see that they're I don't mean to deviate from Picard, but did you see that that Mariam Margulies got stuck into that what's his name? The one out of the one that played Penfold.
What? Terry Scott?
Yes. She absolutely bagged him. And said he was, do you know what bagged is? Means, she said that he was not only a diva, but he used to do some rather lewd things to the girls and that.
Oh, it's not good.
On set and that, and she hated him, And it's people that can't even defend themselves now,
I remember Stanley Kubrick was talking about actors, and he was saying that when actors come on the set and they don't know their lines, there's nothing you can do about it. You can fire them, but then that just puts you in a hole where who do you replace them
you've got
with?
no one else.
yeah, if you shot half the film, you can't fire them because you need them for the other half of the film. And he said the reason why people say that Stanley Kubrick shoots 75 times, one take 75 times, he says that's not true. He says the only reason why I shoot a lot is because the actors don't know their lines, and when they don't know their lines, I have to keep shooting. And he goes, the most he's shot is like 7 to 9 takes on something. But then when they interview the actors go, yeah, he's a visionary. He wants everything perfect. I remember I shot one scene and it was 30 times, and they exaggerate, and then exaggerating it became so high that it ended up Stanley Kubrick shooting 75 times, and he goes, I've never shot a scene 75 times. It's just the actors exaggerating because they didn't know their lines. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's a thing, isn't it? So, but anyway, when it comes to Patrick Stewart, he learned on stage, so he's really proficient on learning lines and stuff. He's really good at his job. Really good at his job. But the thing is, though, he knows nothing about scripts.
Television.
He knows nothing about television. They should never give him. I reckon they gave him creative.
He thought it was going to flop, didn't he? He thought Star Trek was going to flop.
I reckon they gave him creative control because they wanted him back. They wanted him to be in the show, and that was one of the stipulations, and that's why he got it. But he should never have got it, though.
I think also because he's of his wife as well.
Yeah.
I think his wife had a lot to do with it too. Unfortunately, because they're a lot when the wives are a bit younger, you know what I mean? They have a lot more influence. I think she's about half his age.
Oh, okay. He's in his 80s right now, isn't he? 80s?
Yeah.
It just makes me sad when I was watching this first episode and he was in the bar with Riker, and he looks so frail.
You're there for covert. But you're there for covert operations, right? To talk. Why are you in a fucking public place? That was the one thing I was like, why are you in a public place? And there's of course there's a guy across the way with a fucking bloody listening in and shit. It's like, oh god. It's like, why not just say, come down to my villa? We'll have some champagne and something from the grapes and
another thing. Another thing that bothered me, Matt, as well, is that. Do you remember the ending when Raffi's in the ship and she's going, "Oh, something's going to happen," and then the whole thing blows up and it goes down? Remember that bit?
Yeah.
Right. Look at the end.
Gets teleported.
Right. So look at the ending again. Right.
Yeah.
So the thing goes down, and then this big circle comes along, and the rubble comes out of this big circle. So you see it coming out of the big circle, and then it cuts to Raffi, where she reacts like a couple of seconds later. It was really bad editing. She should have reacted. They should have cut straight to her when those things were coming down for her to react like that.
Yeah.
But if you look at it carefully, it was just too much of a gap.
I thought it had been transported. I thought it had been like transported or teleported because it went down one hole and then it went down. It went up through. Yeah, come out the top just to make maximum damage.
Yeah. It's a good effect, though. Really good effect.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too bad, but I was like, and then when she was Googling what's a red lady, and I'm like, why would you fucking do that?
So what is that computer then? I don't, because that obviously happened in season 3, right? So I don't even know what is that. Is that like Zen or something?
No. There is someone actually communicating with her.
Oh, I see.
That she is working for, and she doesn't know who she's a spy, okay? And she's been deep undercover for months and months, being because of her history with drugs. So that's the reason why she's in the den of evil or whatever it is with all those druggies and that. And so she can fit in, because she's gone back to it, so and people know who she was and how she's been. So and obviously because of the blue guy.
That wasn't a computer then that she was talking to?
No, I originally thought that too. And then I'm like, is she talking to 7 of 9? Because they seem to be buddies. And then I'm like, and she was like, you can speak to me freely, and all this. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't know who this person is. So she is communicating with someone. So it could be it could be Geordie, it could be Worf, it could be, it couldn't possibly be anyone else.
Well,
maybe
as I said, we'll see.
Tasha Yar, because apparently Tasha Yar's coming back in it.
Really? I've seen she was Tasha Yar, the actress that played Tasha Yar. She was in Dexter.
Denise Crosby.
She was in an episode of Dexter. In fact, that was the first person Dexter killed when he was a teenager, apparently, in the actual show itself. And she didn't look too good in that. So I wonder what she looks like now.
No, she's not looking too healthy. She's Bing Crosby's granddaughter.
Yeah.
Never ever met him apparently. But she was upset recently. I was like, why are you upset? She was upset because she didn't get invited to the premiere to Picard season 3. And I'm like, are you even in it? You're dead.
Yeah,
She's like, I was like, and then I was reading online that she was, but whether or not that's true or not, I can't see it happening.
Yeah,
it's not going to be the even her as a Romulan is dead. The one where she played a Romulan.
She don't care. I don't reckon she cares. And also,
I don't think any of them do.
At the end of the day, right? This is the last voyage of the Next Generation.
This is it.
So this is it.
I don't think that they'll ever do any more else.
The thing is, though, hopefully the other episodes will be better than this one, and hopefully there'll be some real men kicking ass and stuff. I like when Riker smacked that kid in the face after he took the phaser off him. I thought, that's quite cool.
But I can't work out why they wouldn't have the Doctor's other son. What's his name? The real shitty little kid, the one everybody hates.
Beverly Crusher's son.
Wesley,
that's it. Shut up, Wesley.
Get him. So now all of a sudden she's got, and he's younger. He's obviously younger, than Wesley is.
Yeah.
So thanks, Brian. It was Wesley. But
Wesley,
it's
Wesley.
just thankfully he's like Adric. We just want to forget him.
But I mean, it's as I said. We start off with. See, this is the thing, you see, because now I've been awashed with woke rubbish. I notice these things. Like, it starts off with what a boss lady shooting these aliens, which is Beverly Crusher. So we've got Beverly Crusher being, action hero.
Yeah,
and yet throughout the whole episode, we never see Riker pick up a gun and be an action hero. Nor do we.
That was the thing. I was like, when Riker got to the ship. Yeah. And the first thing, and he was going on about, look at these ashes, and then he started playing with them with his hand. I was like, you wear a fucking glove.
I wouldn't touch them if I was.
No, I wouldn't either. I don't care if they're clean or what. Yeah. What sort of foreign objects are in them?
But that's what I'm saying.
Have you seen the picture to the villain? Have you actually seen the villain?
Yeah, I've seen. She looks
like Lenny and Squiggy out of.
Yeah,
if you see her.
No, I've seen the trailer. Yeah, she's got a little.
She's got this weird, like Hitler type thing. Yeah. Well, you always say about the curl.
No, there's got to be like with every time I write a character, I always think about what they look like. There's got to be something iconic about them, even though even if I do write something and it doesn't go anywhere, I still think to myself, well, if it does, there's got to be something iconic about it. That's why I like Doctor Who so much, because the iconic thing about Doctor Who is the costume that they put the actor
silhouette
in, and the things that he does and stuff like that. Like iconic, the TARDIS is iconic, and loads of shows as well. Like, for instance, a lot of people don't realize that Luther with Idris Elba, he wears the same costume. It's like the Doctor. He wears the same coat. He wears the same tie. Columbo's the same thing. He has the Mac. Every really good character has a trait about them that's iconic. And when it comes to British stuff, they never do that because they don't think in those terms at all. I mean, the only thing. I hate British
The
drama.
doctor,
Really.
the doctor has now become like a fashion accessory. Now he's like wearing every different
Blaxploitation, mate.
suits. No,
Blaxploitation.
but it's not only him. It's not only him. I mean, Capaldi and that were doing the same thing. It was like just
No,
stick to the
well,
same.
that's when it lost it, didn't it? I mean,
Hmm.
Bacaldi's costume was rubbish.
Matt
The
Smith
first one
kept it
was
all the
good.
way through.
Yeah, Matt Smith's costume was great. I love David Tennant's costume. I mean, Chris Eccleston's costume was okay, but it suited who he was. Do you know what I mean? He was like a guy from Salford. He was, you
Oh,
never
see, I
mess with
didn't
him.
know. I never grew up in
Yeah.
Salford, so.
So that kind of made sense to me. Obviously, I love what's his name, Paul McGann's costume in the movie. That's why it's so disappointing when we saw the Night of the Doctor. I'm like, what the hell is he? Did they just go to the BBC wardrobe or something and grab what they could in
He
there?
obviously
Why
didn't
wasn't he in his costume?
He
Why wasn't
didn't
his
want to be
iconic
in that costume. He hated it. He didn't
If
want
I
to
was
be
the
in it. That was
director,
his decision.
If I was the director, I'd be like that. Shut up. You're getting paid. Put it on now. Do you know what I mean? Get me that wig and stick it on his head. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would say.
It's like Colin Baker now. Colin Baker
Yeah.
wants to change his friggin' his costume from what he had, and he had
It's
it
too
from the
late.
beginning to the end.
It's too
but
late.
no. Well, while he was in some weird time thing, he was actually had a purple costume or was it another cut? It was blue. It was light blue. Yeah, and you could actually buy the action figure with him in a light blue costume. Or he goes around wearing that weird cape thing that he had in Resurrection.
I mean, if you think about it, every iconic character has an iconic look. I mean, look at Dick Tracy, the yellow coat, the yellow hat. Do you know what I mean? The red tie. The Hitman. From the computer game, he has a red tie and the dark suit, doesn't he?
I played him recently, and I was like, I finished that game.
But Britain don't understand that. Doctor Who is one of those exceptions. But when you look at stuff that Britain creates or the stuff that they do on TV, it's just shit. Like somebody was saying to me, "Oh, you should watch Happy Valley. It's really good." That girl from Coronation Street.
People complained.
Like, no.
People complained about it. Didn't you hear about that?
It? No.
They complained about the last episode. Apparently, they people had watched like
spoilers.
six series. No. Apparently, people had watched 6 series or six episodes of the final season, and then they wrapped everything up in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So it's obviously people are like, you can't do that,
So I was watching Silent Witness. Is it Silent Witness? Okay.
Yes.
And I watched it because Sophia Myles was saying that she was in it.
she was in it.
So I watched the first episode of her in it, and I was just rubbing my head going, they all were saying things that was connected to the plot. There was never anything about their character. They were talking about things that was connected to the plot all the way through the episode. There was nothing like, so what did you have for lunch then, mate? Nothing like that. It was all about the plot. It was information that we're saying all the way through. And that's the difference between British drama and American drama, right? So if you watch House, okay, they do say things that move the plot forward, but they also have character traits in there that makes you like those people in those series. Like House is so hilarious.
Yeah,
the
it
stuff
shows
that
off
he
the
says.
personality.
Do you know what I mean? The personality. But Britain, oh my God, they're so backward when they write.
And they say with House, he faked his own death or something.
At the ending, the last episode, he faked his own death. But you see, it was a really crap ending. But the reason why he faked his death was because his best friend was dying of cancer. So he faked his death. And then when in his funeral, he texted him saying, because he was making a speech, and he texted him saying, "Oh, shut up, you're talking crap." And then he meets him and he says, "Well, why did you fake your death?" And he said, "Well, what would you rather do? Would you rather spend 2 more weeks in a hospital bed, or would you rather spend 2 more weeks with me and we just go and do stuff? The last 2 weeks."
So he was dying, but he just faked his death early.
No. House wasn't dying. House died. House died so that he can spend the last 5 weeks or 2 months with his best friend. His best friend was dying of cancer, so he wanted to make sure that that's friendship for you. That's what they were saying in I didn't like the ending personally, but I thought it made
No.
sense in the end. So, but anyway, but I mean, American stuff I think is far more superior, the good stuff, not the really crappy stuff, than the British stuff that we so like. What is it? Call of Duty, something Duty. There's some British show called Something Duty. It's been going on for 9 years.
Line of Duty.
Line of Duty. I saw one episode of that. It was the same thing. Information dialogue. It was just information dialogue. That's all it was.
Sorry, Daniel.
You know?
Sorry, Charlotte. They do
information dialogue. I was what have you ever watched Lockwood and Co?
No, I didn't watch it. Is it any
on
good?
Netflix. It is enjoyable, but again,
some of the effects looked really dodgy to me.
No,
the ghost effects.
It's okay. That guy could play the Doctor. There's a young guy playing Mr. Lockwood. That he's very young, and he has a Doctor look about him. He has an iconic look. He has like the jacket, the black tie, and he does look like someone that you could cast in the future as the Doctor. But then again, he is white, so maybe he doesn't stand a chance. If this current regime goes on. Yeah, but
no.
There's a scene in it where he says to the girl, he slags off the girl for no reason other than to move the story forward.
Well, that's good.
Because the girl claims that she can communicate with the spirits and he doesn't believe her. And that didn't make any sense because after everything that's happened, with the proof right in front of him, why would he question that? He only questioned it so they can move to the next point in the script.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's really bad writing. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't. That really irritates me when they it's kind of like X-Files.
Yeah, sometimes that happens in X-Files.
Yeah,
I'm watching season 1 at the moment. I'm watching season 1.
Did you get the US? Did you get the Australian release?
No, I'm watching it. I'm watching it on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
My favorite episode so far, which I've seen them all before, was the Thing one. When they try to copy the Thing, where they go out to the North Pole and there's that thing that goes into you, and it was quite good actually. It was a lot of fun. Those ones are a lot of fun.
I need to rewatch that because I remember.
You remember?
I remember when that first came out here.
Yeah.
And this lady said it'll never last. She said it's a pile of shit. And then they returned the next season, this show that was critics, and they said, yeah, no, we were wrong about that. Whoops. They didn't realize what they had because it was shown here at like midnight. They thought it wasn't going to last long, and it just got this huge following here.
Yeah, it is.
But was that shown? Was that shown on BBC over there?
It was shown. I think it was shown BBC Two in the.
See, that really confuses me. The whole BBC Two. When did BBC Two? Because apparently I was reading the goodies used to be on BBC Two. Is that correct?
It did. Yeah. So
when it first came out.
So if I explain right, so when TV started up in England, it used to have 3 channels only. So BBC One, BBC Two, and ITV. ITV is the independent channel, and BBC will obviously we pay for the channel. And so anything that was considered a bit edgy, a bit a bit off slightly,
like
they
the
would
young
put on
ones?
BBC Two. Yeah, like they would put on BBC Two. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what.
Well, see, we only when I was a kid, we had 2 channels, and that was it.
ABC.
And we had ABC. That's the national broadcaster.
Yeah.
And then we had our own local television station, and that was it. So you had 2 channels to choose from. So it was either. Hopefully, I never ever watched. The weird thing is, I never ever watched ABC until I got older because unless it was like the science fiction stuff and that. After 5 o'clock, I never even bothered with ABC because it was all the adult stuff that the news and all this sort of shit, documentaries and all that stuff.
I remember in the old days, basically it used to be American stuff all across the board. The BBC, the prime time slot was 7 till 8 or something like that. Was the prime time slot, and what was shown in the prime time slot? Dallas, and that's an American show, Dallas.
See, I mean, ABC used to show American comedies like My Favorite Martian, Goes to Mrs. Muir.
I remember.
And all the stuff that sort of stuff. F Troop.
F Troop.
Yeah, F Troop. That was a great show. I love that. That was awesome. I miss shows like that. They're all dead now.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're all gone, mate. They're all gone.
Well, are you gonna watch the second episode of
I
Picard?
don't know.
Aren't you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not in any rush in what. You know, I don't really care what happens next. I know it ended in a cliffhanger. Oh, they've traced you, you idiots! Well, you see the other girls, Raffi and 7 and 9. They solved their problems, but you idiots!
That was another thing with the ship. The ship looked like it was like an Enterprise type ship. Did you see that? It had the weird thing underneath.
Yeah.
Like,
but it wasn't.
But it was half spider or something.
Yeah.
Reminded me of something Babylon 5.
It's still this episode was still had the traits and they were subtle, but I don't care. I want those traits out. I want it to be
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot better than the first episode of Picard season 1. But I'm not even going to revisit season 2 at all after this one.
The only reason why you're watching it is because you know, because you're a Star Trek fan. You know, but we shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. We shouldn't have to put up the rubbish.
I wasn't going to. And then you're hearing that, you know, it's nothing like it, you know, and it's not. It's nothing like what we've gotten in the past. It's definitely not.
It's not.
It's an improvement. It isn't. You've got to admit, it is an improvement.
Yeah,
Are you going to say it is?
Yeah, no, it is. But it's like saying, I gave you a chair with 4 legs. Now I'm going to give you a chair with 3. That's what it's. I mean, you know, or I'll give you a chair with just 1 leg. You have to balance sitting down. That's what they're saying, aren't they? It's an improvement on the 4-legged chair. No, it's not. It's like it's got legs missing. You know.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing, isn't it?
I just hope all the characters all come back the way they were. You know, like when they left in Nemesis. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. We haven't seen the rest of it yet.
So Lore, right? How comes he's all old and fat now? What? I thought he was an android. Why is he aged?
It has to be acknowledged. There's no.
We'll find out, right? How could Lore age?
They were saying there was a reason why Data could age.
Data can't age.
Data had something
android.
in it to age. Yeah, but Data had something in him where he could Nooney and Sung actually like put in an agey thing, so it made him look older.
An agey thing.
That's a technical term for it, all right?
Seriously.
But, you know, hey, look, if you can make Picard into an old robot, you can make Data or Lore into an old robot, right? And it's a possibility. Awful. You got to remember too, there is still, I don't know about the second season, I'm not going to watch it, but there is still that character, that Sung character, he still exists, right? That gave Picard his body, so he could have easily have been given a body. And to me, the whole thing with that terrorist attack, that was a very Lore thing that you could see Lore would do.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Do you know what would make me happy is if they actually did bring back Data and he looked the same when they did some kind of effect on him and stuff. But I
don't think they'd spend the money. And to be honest, I mean, it looked a lot better than like something like Mandalorian, where they didn't. The Mandalorian looks like so rear projection now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there are people out there on the internet that, I mean, why don't they just hire someone from the internet to do it? Because there are people that know how to do it.
Fans, Ian, they don't want to employ fans.
Well, I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake.
Even with Doctor Who, you know, you don't want to say that you're a fan. This is the same with Star Trek. Star Trek, they've never wanted to employ fans.
I think it's a mistake. They could easily implement those people and then save money that way.
But you know what? You know what? soon as I saw that photo with them bringing back the Akudas, you know the Akudas? Okay, so the Akudas are the ones that wrote all the technical manuals, and they used to be, they're pretty
Right,
much
gotcha.
all in charge
Yeah.
of the Bibles of the Star Trek
Yeah.
universe. They know all the history and everything. As soon as they brought them back for the premiere party, I was like, oh, okay, so this looks like, because they got rid of them. Abrams got rid of them. That when they brought that fucking bloody Star Trek movie out, the 2009 one. Was it 2009?
Yeah, 2009.
When they brought that out, they got rid of the Akudas. They got rid of, because they wanted to make their own canon. You know, they wanted to move forward. But now that they brought them back, that's why I was surprised. And I'm like, you know what, I might give this a go, because if it's possible that they've brought them back for that canon, you know, for that original canon. So it might not be in that universe.
It is because it doesn't make any sense, because the robot Picard, the robot, and
but they haven't even mentioned the robot yet.
Yeah, they will. What about that Feck woman? She's not in the original timeline. Feck. Her in the beginning. You should go. The Irish woman in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about her. Totally forgot about her.
Her, yeah. So she's not in the prime line. She's not in the original timeline.
Didn't she have a boyfriend? She had a bald one. There was a bald Romulan that worked with them.
That was a son or helper or something.
No, that wasn't a son. He was too old.
I don't care. I really don't care.
But I really miss she doesn't have the right forehead either for a Romulan. Do you notice that?
Because she's fucking.
Because that was the whole point. They were supposed to be slightly different.
Why has she got an Irish accent?
Because she was brought up.
In Ireland.
Every Romulus has an island.
Yeah. That's a
good way to finish up. So thanks for coming on in and telling us what you thought about it. And we'll return. Maybe you'll come back if you've watched episode 2.
I don't want to help Klutzman. I really don't want to help his career at all.
Well, no. Well, I don't think. We'll wait and see.
Maybe he's under contract and he doesn't need our help. Maybe I'm completely wrong about it. I don't know. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Brian.
So anyway, yeah. So we'll return. Hopefully, maybe in a couple of weeks. We might leave it for a couple of weeks and see. You know, if you watch even episode 2.
Oh God!
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Ending.